Hello everybody, Nozvix here, and as you may notice, it's not Team Fortress 2 in the background, it's Far Cry 3. I was playing it for a while, and I was like, you know what, I just realized I don't have any footage that I'm not being used in anything else, so I might as well just record myself going around rescuing camps, and then I have this flimsy justification for why I'm using Far Cry 3, because as you can tell from the title of this video, I am talking about, reboots and series that, continually get reboots and why sometimes they suck, sometimes they don't. And that justification is, well, when Jason Brody had to go to Rook Island. He had to reboot his life. He had to hit that reboot button and be like, okay, now it's time to be badass instead of just a pansy white boy with tribal tattoos that don't mean anything, and become a pansy white boy with guns and tribal tattoos that grant me magical power somehow. Either way, what we're talking about here is actually something that is related to another video I'm doing. As you guys might know from, if you've watched my channel, is that I do a thing called Staring At, where I basically run analysis of TV shows, and occasionally I want to do movies, and the first movie I've decided to get into is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, normally I would go into that without preamble. I'd be like, okay, welcome to Staring At, here's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, here's the thing, but from everything I've seen, so I haven't watched the movie yet, actually. After I record this, I'm actually going to go and watch Ninja Turtles. And everything I've heard about the movie so far is that it is possibly the absolute worst thing that has ever been done by the hands of man. Literally worse than Hitler, and all sorts of possible exaggerations like that. Now, I can't really say anything to the positive or the detriment of that because I have never seen it, but it gets me thinking. When a series like the Ninja Turtles get rebooted, there's always someone who's like, man, fuck this reboot. The reboot I grew up with was the best. And it's true for Ninja Turtles, at least, and for quite a few other things. Like, Ninja Turtles, what I remember most from my childhood is Ninja Turtles from the 2003 cartoon. And that is my favorite Ninja Turtles. That's my favorite incarnation of the Ninja Turtles because, that's what I grew up with. Every time, 2003, I was fucking 9, 8 years old, and I'd come home from school and I'd be like, oh boy, Ninja Turtles! And then I'd turn it on and I'd watch Ninja Turtles, and it'd be Donatello doing machines, Raphael punching things, and Leonardo being a fucking wet blanket. And that is the Ninja Turtles I grew up with. That's the Ninja Turtles that I know. But then there's other people on the internet who grew up with the 80s cartoon. The Ninja Turtles who I have to admit just seem like I like those Ninja Turtles. Their Ninja Turtles are perfectly fine. They're definitely a product of the 80s though. So they're fine. They're perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with those Ninja Turtles. They work as Ninja Turtles. And even the Ninja Turtles that came after the 2003 series. The 2003 series extended in 2009, and then in 2012 there was a Nickelodeon reboot, where Nickelodeon bought almost all of the rights from the guys who were running Ninja Turtles before, and they made their own CG cartoon. Now, I haven't watched much of the CG cartoon. I'm not that big of a fan of it, but I can admire it. Because it's still Ninja Turtles. It's still Ninja Turtles. They still try and do it correctly, and they seem pretty on point. So that's fine. You have them. Then you have the movie Turtles from the 80s, the 3 Ninja Turtles movies, and the third one that sucked. And you have the TMNT movie that was CG in 2010. And now you have the new Ninja Turtles with Michael Bay, and I don't think I've ever seen people just rail against a movie this hard. It's weird. It's weird. And there are going to be people that either they aren't too attached to the old Ninja Turtles, or they're just completely new to Ninja Turtles, and they'll watch it and they'll think, this is Ninja Turtles. and they'll enjoy it for the most part, because everyone has to enjoy something, and everything is enjoyed by someone. I personally know there are several terrible fucking movies that I love that for the most part everyone hates. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine. Like what you like and do what you like. But it just got me thinking. You got Transformers as well. Transformers had the generations. You had the Generation 1 Transformers from the 80s, and you had all these little reboots of Transformers as you go along. There's always fans of every new reboot of a franchise, and there's always people that rail against it. I mean, even My Little Pony, for example, which is actually a thing on my channel. Like, Generation 1, 2, and 3 and 3.5, everyone's like, oh man, that shit's for fucking girls, man, that's fucking bullshit. But then there are people that grew up with it. And actually, there are even dudes who like that quote-unquote girly cartoon. Yeah, and there are people who like those ones. Of course, I really hope no one likes Gen 3.5. Ugh. And then you got Gen 4, Friendship is Magic, and there's bronies, and they're like, whoa man, this is fucking awesome. And then you got people who are like, man, this is fucking bullshit. Why is this brony shit happening, man? This shit is fucking bullshit, man. Man, this is bullshit. So it just gets me thinking. As a series gets older and it gets rebooted, how do you avoid pissing off the already established fan base? Because it seems like Michael Bay has fucking failed at not pissing off the established fan base. Is all I'm gonna say. So just leave down in the comments. Staring at for Ninja Turtles will probably be up the same day as this, so think of this as a supplemental thing. Just down in the comments, let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think? Is Ninja Turtles dead now? Is Michael Bay now just shat all over your childhood? I don't know. How do you think reboots should be handled? Should they reference the old works? Should they take cues from them? Or should they go off in a completely new direction? Because one thing that comes directly to mind is also Ninja Turtles. And something I actually watched rather recently was Turtles Forever, which was I think the final animated feature for the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it was where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles team up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the 80s via some interdimensional bullshit, basically. It basically uses the Technodrome and its magical plot teleporter. And Shredder from the 80s and Shredder from the 2003 cartoon, they team up and they try to, and 80s Shredder gets betrayed because 80s Shredder is incompetent. And basically Shredder tries to wipe out the entire multiverse of Turtles. So you got all these Turtles, you got the Turtles from the Mirage comics, you got the Turtles from the 80s, you got the Turtles from 2003, they team up and they fight Shredder, 2003 Shredder, who has taken over the Technodrome, and he's done all sorts of cool shit, and I just loved that. I loved how it just tied everything up in a little bow. That was the last of 2003 Turtles, to the best of my knowledge, and just tied everything up in a little bow, and it was just really neat, and it was a very nice tribute to the old series, and it actually got me interested in the 2008 series. 2008 series, 80s series, because actually, after I watched that, I was like, what were these old Turtles like? What's with these old Turtles? Like, I've heard of them, but I'd never really paid much attention to them now, so I went back, and I watched some of the old Ninja Turtles, and I'm like, holy shit, this is cheesy as fuck, but it is definitely Ninja Turtles, and it is very good. And now and I'm completely being live right now, so completely unscripted, so every stutter you hear is shit I would normally cut out of a thing. So, just leave me down in the comments, tell me how you think Reboot should be handled. And, go watch Staring At if you haven't watched the Ninja Turtles movies, or you just have and you just want to hear someone else give their piece on it. I don't know. I haven't watched it. I'm going to be watching it shortly after I record this. So, have a good one, everybody. As always, I'm Nozovix. Remember to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, and I will see you around, my friends.